Speak Up Africa is a digital platform that creates space for digital conversations to be made, specifically from end-to-end usage, from the users of the technological spaces, to the producers of it, to the creators, to the innovators, to the labor rights, to the policy increments, to governance, and all other technological dimensions. This is Speak Up Africa. I am Zaha Speaks. We inform, engage, and empower.
Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Speak Up Africa. Now, we want to delve into such a sensitive sphere of our lives, and especially in leadership, governance, and politics. Now, we, the youth, make up an estimated 75% of our general population. And even in our last general elections, we made quite a good significant number. But it was sad to see that only about 35% of the young people were registered voters. And among that 35%, we had some of them who were not able or did not even show up to make their voices count through their votes. And today we are here to discuss how the youths can be part of setting the agenda politically, and what better way to do it than have Eugene in the house. Eugene, how are you?
Niko salama.
Uko salama?
Yes.
Introduce yourself. Tuambie wewe ni nani?
My name is Oponyo Eugene. The founder of Zalendo Movement Africa, and also the chief executive officer. And was Zalendo Movement Africa, this is a movement of the jobless masses, for the jobless masses, by the jobless masses, with brilliant ideas through smart farming. That is hydroponics farming, that is aquaponics farming, that is aeroponics farming, and even vertical farming, where we are doing these ways to reduce the unemployment menace. In this way, we are trying to make sure young people have something to do, not in a way that they can be left in despair, so that they can languish maybe in abject poverty, now making them to resort into crime. So we are really trying to keep young people into this farming fraternity. We're also trying to keep them into the climate action fraternity. And also, most importantly, because young people engage themselves into sports. So we have a department in Wazalendo, what we call sports diplomacy. This is a department whereby we are trying to teach young people. Majority have talent, but majority of them, they don't know how to utilize and monetize their talent. Because if you look at it, majority of the people, or rather our Kenyans, they play for these teams, Gor Mahia, FC, Tusker, and all these. But they don't even get endorsements from the companies, the local companies, from Safaricom or any other company, simply because they don't have a social media presence. They don't have that celebrity status. So for us to get our players wherever we want them to get, we have to bring them to the celebrity status so that they can get endorsement and live like celebrities, not to live like just sports athletes who are not yet well managed. So yeah, basically that is who I am. And also we do, I also give political analysis on different occasions. But basically we are now focusing on Wazalendo to make sure this is the only avenue we can consolidate the youth constituency through actionable points. Yeah.
Great. And I must say, Eugene, I'm so proud of you. I think coming back from 2019, we've seen ourselves literally grow from young adults to adults, and now being individuals who are taking part in fundamental conversations in our societies. And Eugene, I was very keen and interested to have you on the podcast today because we have shared multiple forums where young people have come together to say, enyewe tumechoka, enyewe we want something different. We were together at the People's Dialogue Festival. And I saw your video making a couple of rounds on social media, Twitter and all that. And it's because you said, siasa ya chama tuwachane nayo, you know, because there was an element of people saying, try and get your IDs, get your voters' cards. And we were like, we do not want that because it will be like every time we have elections, we are not calling the leaders into accountability. Instead, we are told to always wait for the general elections. Now, while young people and the youth of our nation are very vocal and active on social media and grassroots levels, their presence and impact at the political scene is rarely felt. Eugene, as it is right now, what are some of the strategies that are being used to bring together the young people. And I would want to know, even from a personal point of view for you, with all that you're doing with Uzalendo and generally in the political and leadership space, who is funding us? Because do we have the capacity and the financial capability to bring the mobilization together? So what are some of the strategies to bring young people together?
In fact, if you talk about mobilization, that is where the rain is beating us, because we've monetized politics. We've made politics look like it is for those who have money. Now even young people cannot engage into politics. So I'm telling young people, this is, instead of just us throwing tantrums and throwing insults on social media, we have to begin with basics. And the basics are, we need to know, why are we in a specific political party? Why are we supporting ODM? Why are we supporting UDA? Do they have that mandate to care about the grievances of the young people? Have they pushed young people before? Do they really care about our unemployment status? If they are not keen on to solve that, we shouldn't be in those parties as young people. And it is not only ODM, UDA, Jubilee, Wiper, all these parties. None of these parties belongs to a young person. None of these parties has a party leader who is a young person. So us being there, we are only there as spectators. We are not there as people who matter. We are only needed when we are supposed to cause violence. We are only needed as young people to cause mayhem. But the moment that is done, that is it for the young people. You saw the other day for the Gen Z protest. We did the dirty work. We went to the streets. We demonstrated. We showed the world that this country needs to change. But who got the jobs? They are the old guards. The young people never got anything out of it. So before we think about going to the streets, as young people, we need to ask ourselves, who are going to be the beneficiaries of all this? So as just to come back to your question, it is so easy right now to mobilize young people because of the advent of social media. But then we've turned the social media into a different animal, an animal to maim others, an animal to insult others, an animal to use so that you can cause depression onto others. These things, these memes we send, they cause a lot of mental anguish to our fellow Kenyans. We have to go back to the basics as young people. We have to go to the basics as Kenyans and learn. This is the only country we have. If we mess up, there's nowhere else we are going. Majority of us, we don't have double passports. So we were born here. Majority of us will die here. Majority of us will be buried here. Majority of us, we are going to marry here. So it means we just have to make this home better for ourselves. If we keep on insulting each other on social media, it will, the same kids we are going to give birth to, they are going to insult us. Because right now we are the young people. In 10 or so years or 20 years, we won't be young anymore. We will be now people who need to, we will be the old guys who are trying to throw tantrums at. Will we allow the alpha generation, these are the generation, to throw shade at us? We really have to be keen on what we are trying, the animal we are trying to breed. It will come to haunt all of us. So for us to mobilize, it is so easy. This social media thing has made Kenyans feel like they are superheroes. This social media thing has made Kenyans even feel like they are more woke, they are more fashionable, they know everything. But if you look at it keenly, majority of the people no longer give insights on the things that do happen in the country. People only pick on the things they can be able to troll someone, not on the things that can benefit the nation. Think of it. If we think about the positive spamming, there is serious negative spamming about the government. There is serious spamming against individuals. Talking trash, talking things that does not matter to someone. Even the other day, my member of parliament for Dagoretti North, Honorable Beatrice Elachi, she lost her son. And we went on social media to curse her. We went on social media
to see.
Very
it was
sad.
Really, and sorry to just interject you for a moment in that sensitive point. And I remember one of our colleagues in the media industry had to ask on live television that, as Kenyans, have we lost our touch with humanity? Because I understand there could be the element of rage and anger because of all that is happening. But again, loss of life of someone should not be a point of celebration at all. And it caused an uproar on social media that it was sad to see.
It
Carry
is.
on.
It is. And surely, like, we've become so insensitive. We really don't care about the next person, how they'll feel. But at the same time, we have people who are advocates for mental wellness. So why are you advocating for mental wellness? On the same platform, you're trying to cancel others. You're trying to make others feel less of themselves. So as young people, we have a mandate to come together. We have a mandate to first consolidate. Before we think about taking ideas, we might take these ideas after all is said and done. We just side with the old guards. We just go to these cocoons, to the tribal cocoons. We go back to our normal political parties. That is not the way for the young people. For us to change this country, if we believe we can change this country, if we believe the same urgency that I do, if you feel the same passion that I do, if you feel the same energy that I do, we need to come out and consolidate the youth constituency. Tell all those young people in different political parties to get out, because those parties do not serve the grievances and the demands of the young people, and they are not coming to change. A party like ODM, it began when we were typically kids.
Toddlers.
You see. So, but right now it has morphed into something that cannot be wished away. And it is still recruiting young people. They have done limited things for the youth. So why should we still believe in them? The party like Wiper, even all these political personalities, for us to win this war on why young people are unemployed, we have to get each and every person we see in a government office out of those offices, because we have people even who are who already have influence as young people, but they cannot bring young people together. They are only pulling on their own. They don't want to bring each and every person on the same table. So for us to mobilize, we can use social media. And for us to use social media, we have to change the way we are using social media, not from a perspective of negativity, but from a point of optimistic. Because out of this long political darkness, a brighter day will come. And that brighter day will only come if all of us, young people, come together and say, look, we have insulted each other for a very long time. This is the time we need to forge forward as the young people. The more we are insulting each other, the more we are wasting time. The more these old guys are stealing from us, the more they cannot even create employment. The more they are stealing our taxes and taking them to different countries, developing malls and different entities in different countries. Yet our young people are languishing in poverty. Yet we are the ones who pay taxes. So if we really mean well for this country, we should stop all these shenanigans we see on social media, come together, sit on the table, consolidate the youth vote, have a say, have our own political wing, have our own front so that we can advocate for our own grievances, have our own movement, a movement that can be there to seek for demands, to champion for the rights and grievances of the young people. Young people have been left out for a very long time. And young is just subjective. You can be young for a very short period of time. So if we are not going to do anything meaningful during this short period of time, we are doomed as young people. We have to stop these insults we are throwing on social media and sit down and say, we can bring the change we all have been yearning for. But the change cannot come from insults. The change can only come if we agree we are all messing up. If we agree, if we keep on with the insults, the old guys won't change anything. The insults cannot take old guys from offices. We have to consolidate. After the consolidation, then now let's move to the next front to make sure these young people get out to vote. So
Eugene, you've unearthed quite a bit of sensitive pointers, and especially for young people. But I want us to talk about how realistic this is. Ground inasemaje, ground ikoaje, kwa sababu there's the element of we could be keyboard warriors, and that's what we've seen even during the protests that we had, that we are very vocal and very united. We forge a united front at social media levels. But when we come to the ground, when we call for people to come out and have actions towards a better future. And for example, right now, I think even as an individual, I'm taking a responsibility to engage in civic education. And that is why Speak Up Africa is here, to create a platform where we can empower. And empowering can only be done through knowledge transfer. We tell people what they want. But Eugene, let me tell you, I have seen a big disconnect between the accessing of the information and the willingness for people to go out to be educated and even be empowered through information. And there's a very big gap among the youth, you know. And I want to recognize that there's an element that we are in a season of awakening, that if you look at even People's Dialogue Festival, most young people came out and said, this is our time. But Eugene, we have the vulnerability of, we don't have, number one, the employment you're talking about, which means it has a ripple effect on the vulnerability that is set on us because we don't have the financial capacity. So how do we then move from the ideal thinking we have of what should happen, right? And actually actualizing it kwa ground. All these old dogs are looking at us and saying, there's only too much noise you can make. We will pocket you people. So kama vijana, you know, how do we practically say, now Eugene, you know what? We are moving from point A of throwing insults on social media to point B, you know, of now moving to places of action. And I love what you're doing even as an individual, giving people spaces to have something to do, because then it means you're not an idle mind. And when you're in these spaces, when motion is happening, chances and possibilities are bound to meet you on your way. So just take us through, what are some of the measures that we can put, practically kwa ground yenye vijana watasema yenyewe, mi naona Eugene ana make sense. Ni tujue what we want to do, ni let's get ready, ni let's be part of public participation forums and festivals. Tell me what that looks like for you.
Unajua ukweli wa mambo ni tukieka kila kitu ati ni pesa, hakuna kitu tunaenda kufanya. Because the facts are, we can't have more money than the old guards. Those are facts. So we have to remove money as a commodity in our pursuit for good governance. If even our forefathers, when they were fighting for independence, there was no money. Even our forefathers, the Mau Mau, when they were fighting for our independence, they never considered money. They only thought the white person wanted to take their land. So we have one thing in common. We as young people, we are all unemployed. Even if you're not unemployed, you broke. Even if you're employed, you paid in a substandard way. You should not be being paid that amount. So meaning, we are all in the same boat. We are all suffering. We all need a systemic shift. And this systemic shift is not going to happen if we dwell or put our mind on money. Money is just a reward of the process of the things you've done. So if there's nothing you've done to receive that reward, it becomes so hard for you to get that money. So this is what I'll tell young people. For 2027, the Gen Z protest was a good cornerstone. So we have to take it from there. We should not look at politics from a point of finances. We should not look at the good governance on how much do you have? How much can you possess? How much can you front? No. That way, we are not going to change this country. If we are keen to bring the leadership we all deserve in this country, money shouldn't be a factor. Like I've told you earlier, politics in this country has been monetized. We cannot monetize politics and expect change in the communities, because those people come with a lot of the bags of money they throw in our communities. It means they will need their own money back. There's no one who is going to give you, there's no free lunch. If they are coming to give us those 200 shillings, if they are coming to give us those 500 shillings, if they are coming to give us the 1,000 shillings, it means they are buying us. It means they control us.
We are trading our freedom.
Exactly. So if we trade our freedom, we cannot be the first complainers the moment we have already traded our freedom. We have to stand guided. We have to know this is our moment. We have to know we don't need money. We have to know the country is headed in a wrong direction and we don't need money to change all this. All we need is passion. All we need is belief. All we need is oneself. All we need is that fundamental belief. I am my brother's keeper and we are going to do this as young people. Not for us to wait for other people to come and change the situation at home. It is for us, and not for us to think for you to leave this country, go to Europe Europe or go to any other country you served, you not. We are all still in a mess, because even if you leave this country today, you have more dependents who are here who are still looking at you. So we have to change home for us, all of us, to get opportunities. And for us to change home, we have to leave the politics of money. We have to stop these, they call them wash guys, to come infiltrate into politics, to make sure politics is just a job like teaching. Politics is just a job like being a nurse. So we should not treat politics with some mediocrity. That's why we end up with mediocre leaders.
Umesema unachoma yote. Umesema unaongea ikutoke. And let me bring you back to the politics of parties and political parties. For the longest time, Eugene, it's always been your political leader dictates how things will go. And some people go to the ballot, voting depending on what their political parties are saying, depending on what their political leaders have to say in those big parties. I want us to look at it from 2 points of views. Number one, iyo imesha kita mizizi kwa ground, you know? But I like what you're saying. We have to now do politics in a very different way, you know? So in the recent past, it's always been your political party will guarantee you your success. That's why some people get into debt. Some people go to extreme lengths to ensure they've been able to acquire some leverage that they can take to this political party so that they are endorsed. So that is one point of it that we want to look at. And number two, Eugene, so what happens to us? Because we are 2 years into 2027 and for real, we are tired. We want the change and we are the change we want to see. But we are at crossroads. So what influence do these political parties really have? And if we decide to go in ways other than political parties, what does that look like for us?
In politics, or rather in governance, political parties are vehicles. And for you to ascend to power, you need a political party. So for us, all the young people, like I said earlier, there's no party for the young people. And even those who are in these political parties that are already established, we are there by default. We are there by mere fact. We've been welcomed as young people to be treated nicely because we are young, because of our age. Those are the things we need to change fast. And for us to stop the monopolization in political parties, we must have our own ways as young people. We must have our own movement. We must have our own front, so that if we are headed to one party, we are going there as a majority. Not we have few young people in ODM, few in Jubilee, few in Wiper, few in DAP. It means it is so easy for the party leaders to control us. But if we are all in one party, it means we can advocate for what we want. And we can tell the party leader, look, this is not what we are going to do. Again, for us, there are very few young people with cars that has sunroofs. So it means we can't even do the politics of sunroofs. We can't do ile siasa ya kupanda juu ya gari. So for us to get young people into those political offices, lazima we demystify the politics ya kupanda juu ya gari. The moment tumemaliza hiyo siasa ya kupanda juu ya gari, the party leaders, they lose that credibility. They lose that power to make it controlled, sisi kutuambia kitu tunafanya. Manake vijana tumekata tutaki ile siasa ya kupanda juu ya gari. Inamaanisha tunataka ile siasa ambayo vile tunaongea na wewe hivi tuweze kuelewana. Tunataka ile siasa ya town halls tuweze kuongea ili huyu party leader atuambie before election anataka kutufanyia nini kama vijana. Isikue tu tuna support mtu akishaingia ndio tunaanza kujiuliza na by the way alikuwa anatuambia atatufanyia nini. Or rather tunaanza kuangalia manifesto, a lot of things sasa zinaanza kuto make sense. But ile siku ambayo alikuwa amekuja ground kutueleza, hizo manifesto zake zilikuwa zina make sense. Because we were drunk with power. We were overly drunk into our political parties. We were overly immersed into our tribal cocoons. But if we mean well for this country, if we mean well and we want a government that works for us all of us, we are yearning for a country whereby you don't need a big name for you to get a job. We only need merit for you to be employed.
True.
You don't need for you to know someone to get a tender in government. We don't need a government that only works for the few. We don't need a government that has marginalized other communities. We don't need a government that only shares resources on the basis of how many people do you have in your counties, how many people do you have from where you're from. Instead of looking at it, do we need a tarmac road in Wajir? Do we need a tarmac road in Lungalunga? Do we need a tarmac road in Busia? Do we need a tarmac road in West Pokot? That means all of us, we can open up the Kenya we want. A Kenya where each and every person is proud to be a Kenyan. But we are living in a country whereby people are tired. People no longer feel the bracelet they used to wear with those Kenyan flags. People no longer care. People no longer even have respect for their own leaders because their leaders have disrespected themselves for far too long. The leaders have been looting our resources for far too long. So we don't have the reason why we need to give them respect because they have made us be the people we are right now. They have made us these jobless people we are. And that's why, even you look at the education is flawed. Immorality in this country, even amongst us youth, is on the rise. The immorality is on the rise because poverty is on the rise. The moment we take our young girls to the universities, the moment we take our young boys to the universities, we don't give them something to do on the weekends. We don't even keep them busy. We know very well our lecturers don't even come to the classes each and every day. That's why the morality rate is on the rise. For us to change this, we have to sit our young people down and say, money is everything. We all need money, but you need principles. As a person, do you have respect for yourself? It does not even change anything, or rather make you a better person if you're so busy trying to be so immoral in the community. So soon we'll be the ones with kids. So soon we'll be the grandkids. What will you tell our young kids? What will you tell our grandkids? So as much as we want to blame the government, I know the government has all the reasons to blame. However, these also falls on us as young people. As much as we want to blame the political parties, as much as we want to blame the opposition, as much as we feel the government is not doing right, everything starts and stops with the young people because we are the future. So if we are the future, we cannot just sit and wait for the future to happen. This is the future. We have to make sure we come together as young people, not in political parties that have been there for years, not in movements that have been there for years, not in our tribal cocoons. Right now, we are in a position whereby you no longer even deal with the people from your own community. Why do we still in that cocoon of tribalism and all that? As young people, we have the common agenda to solve the unemployment menace. We have the common agenda to make sure this country works for all of us. We don't need to go to Saudi. We don't need to go to Europe. We don't need to go to US. Here. We can make it in this country. We can make it in Africa. Kenya is strategically positioned. Kenya is in a position whereby in the Eastern Africa, in the entire Africa, we can go to any part of the world easily. So we have to take that chance and move forward as a country.
Eugene, I love the passion and the fire behind your voice and your articulation, and you've been talking and small snippets were just running through my mind of when we started the Gen Z protest, and we said we are tribeless, we are leaderless, we have common problems, we have common solutions that we are seeking, and you've raised very fundamental points that I would want us to debunk a bit. Eugene, I think some of these inequalities in the society are very intentional. For example, if you look at how our education system is so flawed, like we went to college together, right? Yeah. And people have gone to grow themselves and improve and go to higher levels of education. But it's gotten to a place where, Eugene, you're asking, for what good? Tunasoma ndio, you understand? Yeah. You invest so much money to get an undergraduate degree for you to come out here and be as good as somebody who never went to school. Yeah. So, and again, we point our fingers back to the past mistakes that have happened and to the old dogs.
Yeah.
I think these problems are very intentional. Like in our past episode, I asked our guest, like, do they think like leaders intentionally just take away information from us, you know, so that we are not empowered? And I like the way you're saying there's all these immoralities, and Bethe Eugene, it's so real. It is so real. It's almost like when you grow a kid and you take them to campus, umewachia the hyenas. Like vile watatoka, it's so dependent on the world. I mean, Eugene, is all this intentional?
Of course,
the systems are pushing us to this direction, and I feel like it's like they've charted these paths for us, knowing very well when you're facing this direction, we are able to steal more from you. We are able to use you better, because Eugene, you know, once you're vulnerable, once you're not empowered, if I come and I find you at your place of vulnerability, place na josotano inaweza kukusot, I'm like, the day I need goons, the day I need vijanas to fight, you're the first people I'm gonna come for, you know.
True.
But if I empower you, if I give you jobs, if I give you opportunities to empower yourself and stabilize yourself, when you come to me, I'm like, can we sit down and have a conversation? So are our leaders intentionally side playing us?
I love a couple perspective on the same.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is everything is intentional. Nothing is off the board. Nothing is by default. Everything happens for a reason. And especially in governance or in politics. Even the Gen Z, you've mentioned about the Gen Z protest. Personally, I was anti-Gen Z protest. I told young people, don't come out. They are going to kill you. There's nothing fruitful that will come out of this. Because I've been in protest. I started going to protest when I was 17 years old. When we were singing Isaka San Must Go, I was there. When we were singing Chebukati Must Go, I was there. We have come all this long way. Yet, I know for sure what we end up is to lose young people. Personally, I've lost more than 21 young people in protests. So when I say last year, I don't want young people to go out to demonstrate they'll be killed without any cause. The people threw tantrums at me. People threw insults at me. People said I've been paid by the government. No, I know how this works. For us to remove Ruto, we couldn't have removed him the way we thought we could. That is not the way. Again, what made the Gen Z think they were the ones planning for this protest? What made them think the leaders were not involved? What made them think this was the way for Raila Amolo Odinga to negotiate with President William Ruto? So we were only pawns to be used in this game. What makes them think that they were the ones mobilizing the young people? What makes them think they are the ones who curated that Gen Z phrase? What made them think they were being pushed to say we are partiless? What makes them think they were being pushed to say we are tribeless? What makes them think they were being told to remain leaderless? It is for one fundamental reason. The moment there were leaders in the Gen Z, those who had planned the protest could not have benefited. There were protests in Mombasa. Who was funding the protests in Mombasa? There were protests in Kakamega. Who was funding protests in Kakamega? There were protests in Nairobi. Who was funding the protests in Nairobi? We have blamed ourselves amongst the Gen Z, those who were in the movement. But the truth of the matter is, you also don't know what was going on. The state was part of this. The opposition was part of this. All these leaders you see. That's why I don't blame Raila Amolo Odinga for negotiating. Maybe he knew how the protest was going on. So he was the one, the moment he negotiated, did you see anyone on the road? So I'm asking young people, before you wake up to go for a protest, ask yourself, who are the beneficiaries of this protest?
But Eugene, at the beginning of the protests,
it was genuine.
For sure.
It was
for sure
genuine.
We were tired.
Yes.
And I was among the people who went.
Yes,
and it was out of the frustration that life had brought us. And I think at the beginning, it was very organic.
Only one day on 18th of June, if I'm not wrong. All these other days, it was all planned.
It was sad for me to hear that some of the top Gen Z leaders used to have meetings behind those. There's a podcast I was listening to, and your partner and your very good friend tried to demystify some of the myths that were there. And he said, you people don't understand that they were closed door meetings. There were meetings that were happening to see how the agenda of the mandamanos were gonna go.
And that was still on a low level still.
It was sad to see, because I think the movement started organically. Manze guys were tired. You were like, if you're not killing us from home, you're killing us from the health sector. So how about you kill us from the streets? So, Eugene, it's sad to even hear what you're articulating, that all this was orchestrated and planned.
Most definitely. Let me ask you something. Kuna mtu hii Kenya ajui sahi watu wako na shida?
They're there.
Kuna mtu ajui?
The bougie, the rich, they're there.
They know. The noise that is being made in this country, be it you're rich, be it you're wealthy, be it you're, like, whichever way you are in the classes
Those rich
in society.
kids know.
They know. They were even on the streets. They understand. They're on TikToks. They know what's going on.
Leave alone the baddies. Leave alone the baddies. I'm saying kids of guys who are in Gava proper. The guys who, they're in New York. They went for WRC in Choppers.
They know. I can assure you, they know. Because we hang with some of them, and they know what's going on.
How are you
so let me ask you this. Everything is perception. The moment I know your weakness, I know you are unemployed, I know you don't have money, it is so easy to beat you down. It is so easy to make you feel like we came out of our own volition. You did not come out of your own volition. You saw a post on social media that made you to come out. There was a lot of social media. You could post something like Ruto must go. In 1 minute, you have like 200 or 2,000 likes. Where did those accounts go? Those were accounts. There are some things I cannot say here, but those accounts are run by different people. That's why they were deployed for them to work on the Gen Z protest. The moment the Gen Z protest was over,
the fire died down.
The fire died. The moment you post something, you don't get the same reaction you do, because there's something we call tweet decks. Tweet decks can hold even 1,500, 200 accounts, let's say on X, or even on Facebook, or whichever app. And the moment someone posts, you can use all the 500 accounts to like, to comment, or whichever way you want them to do. So that's why I'm saying, next time, young people, before we come out, ask yourself who are the beneficiaries. There are those organic protests. There are those organic maandamano that zimeweza kusaidia watu. Ndo maana sisi wenyewe kama vijana lazima tukae chini tujiulize, hii maandamano, hata before hata tumalize tu hiyo story ya maandamano, kulikuwa na mambo ya IMF walikuwa wameongeza taxes so that taxes zinaweza kuwa improve. What about the state pia ilikaa chini ikaona, gava ilikaa chini ikaona, hatutaki kulipa IMF hido, hatutaki kulipa World Bank hido. Tulete maandamano tujifanye ni kama hii finance bill haiwezi pita. Then they push a lot of young people to the streets. They poison you mentally kwa sababu wanajua mko tech savvy, mko always on your phone. It is so easy to poison a person right now. It is so easy to piss off Kenyans. Hata sasa nikisema tu hapana, Ruto anaenda miaka 10, Ruto anaenda miaka 15, nime piss off wase wengi sana. Because Kenyans are easily agitated. They are easily aroused emotionally because to consume social media. And another thing, I'll say this, and for sure, this is my camera, right?
Yes.
Kenyans have become emotional. And the reason why Kenyans have become emotional, Kenyans are having a lot of sex. And the more you have a lot of sex, you become very emotional. You become very attached to things. You become very attached to people. If you look at it, this country, the only economic sphere that is working is the sex economy. If you look, if we are being honest, that's why I'm talking about the immorality. If you want even young kids, they are selling themselves to get some few coins because the economy is not working. That is the only thing that is working in this country. That's why people have become so emotional. And I ask all of us, let us come together as young people, fight all these vices together. No, this country can only be led by us. We cannot wait for other young people. We cannot wait for these leaders to come and bring the change we want. There's no way a leader who is employed, a leader who has businesses, they can come to solve the unemployment menace we have. No, it is for us young people. And also, if you look at it keenly, let us not just be put into falsification to believe. Each wave you see, it is something to bring change. Each euphoria you see, it is something to bring change. Each leader or each young person you see articulating about issues in an effective way is there to bring change. Some people have not been tested. Some people have not done anything in the community. Why do you want to bestow that leadership mandate on them?
Yeah.
Why do you think now they will carry the mandate to bring the change we all deserve in this country?
Yeah.
They have not done anything in the communities. They have not done anything for their own people. So why do we have to bestow all that leadership mantle onto the people that have never been there for us, for the people that they are coming out for the first time. They are coming out to protest for the first time. They don't know protest work. They are only telling you to come out and for you to be shot. They won't be shot. Some people are making money out of us, our emotions. The moment we get mad at the government, some people are cashing in money.
True.
Organizations are making a good money out of this. For them to come in our communities, to look like they're doing something for the community, but they are there to make money for themselves. So I'm asking young people, be keen to who you listen to. Be keen to who you follow. Because the moment we tear this country apart, we are risking our ways to go the Congo way or the Haiti way. In Haiti, they used to elect presidents. But the moment a president is elected, not the young people are used to say, we don't want that president. The president resigns. They elect another one. The president resigns. If Ruto did not have the temerity and resigned, trust me, we don't have someone else who can anaweza stahimili joto wa Kenya. Na tutafika mali tutaanza kupigana sisi wenyewe. Juzi umeona hii vita ya Wajaluo na Waluya. Hakuna, nimeuliza watu wangu wa nyumbani huko Kakamega. Nikauliza, kwani leo ndo mmejua Wajaluo watairi? Tumeishi karibu hapa na Wajaluo. Why have you never brought up this circumcision thing? Why is it now? Why are you beating the drums of war? Why? What is the reason? What is the end game? Why do the Luyas want to fight the Luos? This has never happened, and it is not going to happen. I ask all the Luya leaders, I ask all the Luo leaders, this is not the time to beat tribal wars. We need Luos in the same boat. We need Luyas in the same boat. We need Kikuyus in the same boat. We need Kalenjins. We need Ogiek. We need people in Kwale. We need the Digos. We need the Griamas. We need each and every person to feel this country belongs to all of us. These wars we are beating for tribalism, it will only plunge this country into chaos. And we are not ready for chaos. We are not ready because we don't even produce enough of our food. The moment there is violence in this country, majority are going to die of hunger. We don't produce much. We are not in our farms. So before we use this energy to come out and say, we don't care about what is going on. We don't care about the Luos. We don't care about the Luyas. We don't care about the Kikuyus. Let us use that energy to go to the farms. Let us use that energy to plant trees. Let us use that energy to clean our environment so that we can keep ourselves busy. But matters of tribalism cannot change this country. Our forefathers have been there. The tribalism began in 1963. Until now, we have not benefited from that. Other communities have been left out. Other communities feel marginalized. Yet, we are saying this Kenya belongs to us. All of us, we pledge allegiance to the flag. All of us, we pledge allegiance to the white strips. All of us, we pledge allegiance to the green strips. All of us, to the black and the red strips on our flag. It means this country belongs to all of us. The pundits love to divide us. They want to group us into political parties. They want to group us into cocoons of the tribals. But we are telling them, we serve a living God. We serve the providence that is there for us. It loves this country. God loves Kenya and is not going to allow this country to plunge into chaos. We will be there and we will make sure the country is headed to the right direction by consolidating the youth vote, by putting young people in things they can make sure they benefit from themselves, not to be beat around to make sure this country is not working, not to make sure the country is going to anarchy. No, we don't have any other country. This is the only country we have, and we have to make sure the country is in a peaceful mode. A peaceful mode will bring investors. before we say there is serious unemployment menace, let's say we have ideas as young people, we are the woke community, but let's come up with solutions. Before we tell President Ruto, we don't want you in state house, let us say we have 50% of the people in government are more than 50 years. Why can't you advocate for those people to get out of government, to come out here and create jobs? People are still in government in their 60s. Those are the people who are the reason why we have this unemployment menace. If you're 60 years old, you need to have created jobs. If you're 50 years old, you need to have created jobs. Not for you seeking for a job. That's where we are messing as a nation. If we change that trajectory and make sure people can retire early so that they can venture into businesses, they can venture into agriculture and create jobs for the young people. But if people want to retire at 60, some even at 60, they're still looking for jobs. There is no way a 20-year-old will get an employment. There's no way we'll get a 19-year-old into parliament. There's no way we are going to get a 25-year-old as a cabinet secretary in this country. We have to change on how we look at things. We don't have to wait for the young people to get old for them to get opportunities. No, we need to get these opportunities at this early age so that we can transform our country. Our country can only transform by us, but not the old guards.
Eugene, I love your fire and I love your passion. And I mean, I hope most young people rally behind you and tap into that passion to bring transformative change. And let me just echo out what you've said. There were statistics that were put across that it is sad to see that, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that our population is made up by roughly 75% of young people, you know, and it was sad to see that these reports came back showing our top 3 priorities as young people is entertainment, sex, and money. Unfortunately. And I was reading that report and we can see tangible evidence on the ground. Entertainment, sex, and money. And Eugene has told us we have misplaced our priorities. But we also acknowledge that some of this might have just been influenced by some of the things that we think are out of our control. The tweet decks, all that. The narratives on social media are being deliberately sold to us. Those are things that are deliberately being brought to your site so that they can blindfold you from the important things that are truly happening. Eugene, thank you so much. And as we wind up, I just want you to tell us why you think it's important for the young people of this nation to be part of the agenda-setting conversation. Why should we come out and be educated? Why should we come out and be part of the conversations that curate the narratives we have in leadership and politics? Why do we need to be part of agenda-setting in politics?
That's a philosophical and good question at the same time. And, you know, like I've always said, we've been sold a narrative that the youth are the future of tomorrow. And we have to agree those narratives are no longer tenable. We cannot just wait for you to get to 30. We cannot wait for you to get to 35 for you to be able to get an opportunity. And that is being done deliberately. So for young people, we must be part of the discourse. We should not shy away just because you don't have money. That is not a factor. It is an excuse to me. Be it you have money. We have seen this, the likes of Selassie have been voted in without even having anything. You see, so it is all about the passion you have, the belief you have, the faith you have. So it is very important for the young people to participate and be part of the governance process, because we are the futures of tomorrow, like they always say. But this is already a tomorrow. So we are the futures of now. So for us to change now, we must be part of the system. We cannot say we are going to change the country, yet we just sit back and do the things that does not lead us to change the country. We have to participate in the political processes. We have to get our national voters card. In fact, start with our national IDs, get our national identification cards, get our national voters card. Don't join any political party yet. 2027 is still way too far. If you join a political party right now, you are trapped. That political party does not even
selling your allegiance to them.
It does not even push for the grievances and the demands we all desire as young people. In 2022, I told young people, tujitokeze twende tupige kura. Tusipopiga kura tunaenda kulia miaka ingine 5. na wamelia tu hii miaka ingine hii ya Ruto 5.
Tulikunywa county hatukutokea.
Vibaya sana. Walikunywa county hao kutokea. Kwanza hiyo time ilikuwa Chrome. So unapata tena sahi 2027. Sahi tuko na mamioto sana. Which is a good thing. We have to take advantage kwa hii moto. We have to take advantage to waste. Hii vita tuna waste masa tunapiga siji Kasmuel, siji amefanya nini, siji Morara amefanya nini, siji nani amefanya nini. Tunahitaji hao watu wote pamoja. Ukue ulienda maandamano, ukue au kuenda maandamano, ukue as long as wewe ni Mkenya, sisi sote tunajua shida ambazo zinatukumba kama Wakenya. Sisi sote tunakubaliana kuwa vijana wengi hawana ajira. Sisi sote tunakubaliana ya kuwa kumekuwa na visa vya wanawake kuweza kupoteza maisha yao. Sisi sote tunakubaliana kuwa hatujakuwa wa kweli na wangwana kwa wenzetu. Tumekuwa tukitupiana cheche za matusi. Na huu ni wakati ambao sisi kama Wakenya tujikubali, tukue wazalendo. Hii nchi ni nchi yetu sisi wote. Hata tufanyeje, lazima sisi kama vijana tuchukue mstari wa mbele. Tuwe mstari wa mbele katika kupigania nchi. Si kuipigania tu kwenda katika maandamano. Ila kuna njia mingi, kuna policy. Tunaweza sema sisi kama vijana tumechoka sana kila saa kutafuta kazi katika serikali. Yet serikali yenyewe iko na watu, iko na ghost workers. Iko na watu ambao wamepita hata miaka za kuwa wanafanya huko kazi. Before tufikirie kutoa Kasongo, ndo maana vijana lazima tukue in this governance process. Before tufikirie kutoa William Ruto, lazima tujifikirie kuna ofisi ngapi za vijana, na wale watu ambao wako katika hizo ofisi ni ni vijana wana miaka ngapi. Tunaweza fanya aje tuweze tuweke kijana hapo, ili mtu akipita miaka 35 na wewe, na hiyo ni position ya vijana, achia kijana mwenzako ili tukue na systemic.
Sio kijana mwenzake, manake sio kijana tena, achie vijana waliomfuata.
Naam, manake sasa yeye masaa yake ya kuwa kijana yameisha. So we have to change that before tuende huko tunafikiria sije Ruto nani. Kuna vitu mingi sana tunaweza fanya hapa before level. Na pia vijana wanasema lazima tungoje 2027. Si lazima tungoje 2027. Tukija pamoja kama vijana, tukija pamoja kama the young aspirants who want to vie in 2027, ni rahisi sana sisi kujumuika na kusema President Ruto, sisi tungependa ufanye mabadiliko hapa na hapa na hapa. Lakini ile tu kutupa matusi, hakuna mtu ambaye atatuchukulia serious. Tukiendelea na hii tunakosana huyu, tunakosana na huyu, hakuna mahali tunaenda kama vijana. Lakini mimi najua, be it you went for the protest, be it you did not go for the protest, this is the time we have to come together as young people. This is the time we have to realize the patriotism in us has to come out and say, look, we have been in these political tantrums since June last year. We have to step back and say, look, we have been throwing tantrums and shade at each other, but that is not the way to go. We have not created any job using these insults. Hatujabadilisha kitu chochote katika nchi yetu kutumia hii matusi. Ila tu wale ambao wamezoea kuiba vitu za nchi wanaendelea tu. Rasilimali za nchi zinaendelea kupotea. Na sisi waste masaa tukitusiana. Ndio maana nawaomba tuache mambo ya kutusiana, tukuje tukae pamoja tuweze kusonga mbele.
Okay. Eugene, with all your wisdom, all your input, all your passion, all the fire that is burning in you, tell us, are we expecting you on the ballot in 2027? Are you vying?
Yeah, that's no brainer. Like we can't just be the talkers, we can't just be the sayers and not take action. In 2020 I was on the ballot. But we were on some dry run. But 2027 we are coming back because that's why. But I'm not looking at Eugene as a person, because Eugene only going to parliament. That's why I have this movement for the young people. Eugene only going to parliament in 2027 is not substantial. We need, for us to shoot that finance bill down, we need substantive Gen Zs. We need substantive youthful members of parliament, so that when we say tutaki finance bill 2027 2028 tuko na numbers.
Exactly.
Lakini kusema ni mimi Eugene peke yangu nataka kwenda haitanisaidia. Ndio maana nawaomba vijana wenzangu, tujiunge, tutafutane, tuweze kukaa chini, tuweze kuongea, ili sisi sote tuweze kuona jinsi tutaingia katika bunge, tuweze kuona ni vijana wangapi. Hata tunaweza achana na bunge Wendy. Tuseme tu vijana wengi, tusimame tu MCA wengi kupita kura wanapita na kura 1,000. Wewe hapa najua unaweza pata watu 1,000. So kama unaweza pata watu 1,000 na uwa convince washike kura kule katika ward ambayo unasimama, inamaanisha unaweza kuwa MCA. So ni vijana wangapi tukitumia social media power tunaweza fanya waingie kuwa MCA. Tujisumbue hata na members of parliament. Tuseme hii members of parliament tutarudi 2032. Lakini 2027 tunataka ku make sure madiwani wote ni vijana. Madiwani wote wako chini ya miaka 30 ama miaka 35. So that kwa hizi counties tukitaka kupush our own bills, tuko na numbers za MCA wetu kama vijana. Lakini tukisema mimi peke yangu, siji Kasmuel, siji Morara, siji nani, utapata ni vijana wachache sana wako katika bunge, na hata kuna kile ambacho wanaweza fanya. Manake hawana nguvu, hawana sauti. Lakini tukishikana na tusiogope ati una pesa, usiogope tabaka lako, usiogope unatoka wapi. Tokeleza kama kijana, kama una azimio la kuweza kusimama, kama unataka kuwania kiti chochote, na kuomba kama kijana jitokeze tuweze kufanya groundwork before tuseme tunataka kwenda hata kusimama katika zile constituency ama zile ward. Tuweze kukuja pamoja kama tunafanya kitu na Kasmuel inaitwa Wakombozi, Wazalendo Wakombozi. Tungependa wakuje hapa wote ili tukitaka kutembea tunatembea sisi wote pamoja. Tumesema we are focusing on what we call aggressive national building. Na hii ni ku make sure nchi yetu tunaenda kupanda miti, tunaenda kuangazia mambo ya chakula, tunaenda kuangazia mambo ya tabia nchi in general. Ndio maana sisi sote, ili by the time wewe kama Wendy unaenda kusimama let's say hapa Nairobi, uko na kitu ambacho tumefanyia community. Tusikue tu kama hao wabunge wengine wanakuja na pesa, ikwetu ni pesa, hiyo ndo reason ambao wanataka tuwapigie kura. Lakini sisi kama vijana tuangalie zile mitaa zetu, tuweke dustbins, tuweze kuangalia takataka, tuweze kuangalia bomba la maji, tuweze kuangalia watu wetu wanaweza kupataje chakula. Tunaweza anzisha aje the hydroponics farming, tunaweza anzisha aje the vertical farming, ili sisi sote kama community tuweze kusonga. Na hizi si vitu zinahitaji mamilioni ya pesa. Hizi ni vitu, ni pesa tu kidogo, na mkusanye kama vijana muweze kufanya usafi. Ili ukirudi kusema wewe unasimama let's say Kileleshwa ward, wewe community akuuliza umetufanyia nini kama Wendy. Ndio maana unawaambia mimi tumefanya 1 2 3 projects. Lakini kukuja tu kama kijana alafu na unexpect utapigiwa kura kwa sababu wewe ni kijana, hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana.
Kweli.
Naam.
Eugene, thank you so much for being here. Na ninatumai kuwa utarudi tena na tena, because
Definitely.
the passion and the fire in you is what we need to keep burning until we get to the level of change, even as we gear up towards elections in 2027. And that is why Speak Up Africa is here, to create a platform where we provide leaders and people who intend to bring change to our communities and our nation at large come converge and have conversations that bring meaning to us. And just the way Eugene has said, vijana wakati wa kujitokeza, Kiswahili, wakati wa kujitokeza ni sasa. Mje mchukue vitambulisho, mje mchukue your voters cards, and make sure that we are very prepared and we are very ready for the future that we want to see. And I want to encourage you that we are the change we want to see. My name is Wendy Lois. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be coming back to you with more guests, greater insights as we gear up the momentum towards a better tomorrow. Thank you so much, and see you next time on our next episode. Kwaheri.
Speak Up Africa is a digital platform that creates space for digital conversations to be made, specifically from end-to-end usage, from the users of the technological spaces, to the producers of it, to the creators, to the innovators, to the labor rights, to the policy increments, to governance, and all other technological dimensions. This is Speak Up Africa. I am Zaha Speaks. We inform, engage, and empower.